Throughout this section, we've been using arrays with simple data types like strings, integers, and floats, and we've been using our loops to iterate through that data and print out the appropriate information, right? Now, you might be wondering, is it possible for us to use our arrays with something other than strings and integers and floats? And the answer is absolutely yes. Now, for this challenge, what you're going to be doing is actually creating an array of game objects. And let's say when you hit the space key, you're going to randomly assign them different spawning positions, right? So let's go ahead and hop into Unity, and I'm going to get you set up for that, and then you'll be responsible for completing this challenge on your own. So here, I've emptied out our main class, and here's what I'd like you to do for your challenge. I would like you to create 3 game objects in your scene and create an array for those game objects. And they can be spheres or cubes or whatever. It doesn't really matter, just 3 of them. And you can assign them in the inspector. You don't need to assign them in start. You can just drag in the cubes into your array fields in your inspector. And then in update, I'd like you to check for the space key. And let's say that they all pick a random position around the screen from maybe like -4 to 4 on the X, Y, and Z axis, somewhere between 4 and -4, anywhere in there. And that's it. That's your challenge. So good luck. Do your best with this and go ahead and pause the video here. If you get stuck, I'll show you a solution in just a second. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and hopefully you found out a solution for this. And if not, no worries. We're going to program a solution right now. So we need an array for our game objects, right? And that's going to be a public game object. And we can use our array brackets. And I'm just going to call this like objects. We'll create and drag those in the inspector in just a sec. But let's go ahead and check for our space key. So that's if input dot get key down, keycode dot space. And then within here, we need to pick a random position around the screen for each of those game objects and assign them random places, right? So we can use a for each loop for that, right? So we could say for each var object in our objects. Oh, object is already a thing, so I can't say that. All right, I'm just going to say thing again. For each thing in our objects array, what we'd like to do is we'd like to give it a new position. So I'm going to say thing.transform.position, and we're going to assign it a random position on the X, Y, and Z. So this is going to get kind of long, but it would be a new vector 3, and we'll say random.range between 4 and -4. Now that's for the X. Let's do the same for the Y. Random.range between -4 and 4. And for the Z, same thing. Random.range between -4 and 4. And end that with a semicolon. And if we zoom out, all right, definitely small font and kind of hard to read. So let's go into Unity and go ahead and create those objects. All right, we have a cube, and let's go ahead and maybe add a cylinder as well. And then I'm going to position them around the screen just so we can kind of see them all. There we go. We got 3 objects, and let's go to our camera and attach the correct script. There we go. Our list is empty. And I think we can actually just drag in the objects like that. Like we can drag them in from the hierarchy. There we go. Yep. So we can drag in the sphere, drag in the cube, and the cylinder. Sweet. Okay. So all of our objects are assigned. Let's go ahead and hit play. And there we go. Random position, space again. And each time they're in a totally random configuration. That shouldn't give me as much joy as it does, but it 100% does. Okay. Beautiful. Wonderful. All right, so for the second part of this challenge, what I would like you to do is in this script right here, go ahead and convert this for each loop to a for loop instead, just so that you know how to do it, because both loops should work and be able to do the same thing. So go ahead and pause the video here, and your challenge is to convert this for each loop to a for loop, and if you get stuck, I'll show you how to do that in just a second. All right, pause the video. Hopefully you paused the video and hopefully you figured out a solution for how to do this with a for loop instead of a for each loop. But if not, no worries. I'm going to show you right now. So I'm just going to comment out this for each loop so that we have it here. And right below that, I'm going to open up our for loop, right? So for int I equals 0, as long as I is less than the length of our list, which is objects dot length. And then we'll just say I plus plus. And inside here, the way that we would do that is we would say objects subindex I dot transform dot position equals this gigantic vector 3 that I'm not going to type out again. And I'm just going to paste it right there and make sure that I don't mess up my brackets. There we go. So if I zoom out once again, here we go. This is how it would work using a for loop. Let's go ahead and save our script and make sure that it works. Test it out. And there we go. It works exactly the same. It's just using a for loop instead of a for each loop. In the next one, we're going to do our final challenge of the arrays section. Okay, so see you in the next one.